Okay, let's dive right in. Welcome to your essential briefing for ARU-102, Inspecting and Maintaining Battery Electric Vehicles. Think of this as your critical pre-flight check before you even dream of touching a tool. And trust me, getting this right is everything.
So let me ask you something straight up. You've worked on plenty of cars, I get it. And you might be thinking, an EV? It's just a different kind of motor. How different can it really be, right? Well, you really need to think again, because with battery electric vehicles, the stakes aren't just higher, they're on a completely different level. We're not talking about a little engine grease here. We're talking about managing hundreds of volts of silent, invisible, direct current. And this quote right here, it hits the nail on the head. This isn't just my opinion. This is the core safety principle of the entire unit. Let's be blunt. Without the right foundation, you are the hazard in the workshop. So, how do we make sure you're safe and successful? Well, it all boils down to mastering 5 foundational principles before you start. That's what we're here to do. Get your head completely calibrated for this high-voltage world.
So here's our game plan. We'll hit the absolute safety prerequisite first. Then, we'll talk about how to think like the machine itself. We'll cover the non-negotiable rules of engagement, how you're going to prove your skills, and we'll wrap up with a final check. Let's get into it. First up, the single most important piece of this whole puzzle, your safety prerequisite. This is all about mastering AURETH 101 before you even lay a finger on a 102 task.
And let's be absolutely crystal clear. AURETH 101 isn't recommended reading. It's a mandatory, non-negotiable, hard and fast rule. You cannot and will not start this unit without having already passed it. There are 0 exceptions.
This is what you're expected to know like the back of your hand. The full depower sequence, from killing the low voltage supply to pulling that main service plug. And listen up, because this is the step that could literally save your life. Verifying with your meter that there is absolutely 0 residual voltage. Then you secure that disconnect. This isn't a maybe step, it's an every single time step.
And here's the kicker. This isn't about ticking a box on some theory test. Your ability to nail this entire procedure safely and perfectly is a live competency. It's going to be assessed every single time you approach a vehicle in this unit.
Okay, let's build on that. Foundation number 2. It's time to think like the machine. You've got to understand the invisible world of high-voltage electronics. You know, this goes way beyond just pointing at parts. You need to get battery cell theory. What happens in nasty failure modes like reverse polarity? Yeah, that's where a cell's polarity literally flips on itself. You need to know how the battery management system, the BMS, acts as the brain of the whole operation, and how the power distribution unit is like the traffic cop for all that high-voltage flow. It's a whole ecosystem.
In this slide, it just shows the difference perfectly. A surface-level check is just looking at stuff. A deep system analysis, which is what's required here, means you're plugged in with a scan tool, and you're reading the live data from the BMS, hunting for tiny little clues in cell voltage or resistance that scream problem long before you could ever see it.
So why does this matter so much? Because this knowledge is the difference between a technician who just sees an old battery and a professional who spots the digital signature of a catastrophic failure that's waiting to happen.
Okay, foundation number 3, the rules of engagement. This is your safety protocol. It's not a suggestion, it's a non-negotiable contract you make every single time you're near a BEV.
Let's burn this number into your brain. 1,000. Your electrical safety gloves must be rated to at least 1,000 volts. They are not optional, they are your first, last, and most important line of defense, period.
And the list goes on. The one-hand rule? You're using it. Keep one hand behind your back to prevent a current path across your heart. You're standing on a high-voltage insulating mat. Jewelry? Take it off. And you'd better know exactly where the right class of fire extinguisher is. All of this is locked in by the Australian standard AS 5732.
And remember, following these rules isn't just a good idea. Complying with AS 5732 is a legal requirement. And for this unit, it's a direct condition of your assessment. Your assessor will be watching your safety setup like a hawk before you're even allowed to start.
All right, let's get to Foundation 4, where this all comes together. This is where you prove your competence. You do it by testing, by documenting, and, this is crucial, by repeating.
So what's the core task? You're going to use diagnostic gear to pull data from the high-voltage battery, that's the RES, and the drive motors. Then you play detective. You compare that real-world data against the manufacturer's specs to hunt down any faults or problems.
And here's a key detail you can't miss.
You don't just do this once and call it a day. Nope. To pass, you have to successfully inspect and maintain 2 different battery electric vehicles. This proves your process is solid and repeatable, not just a one-time lucky break. And finally, you write it all down. Every reading, every test, every fault you find. And this isn't busy work. This documentation is critical for future safety, for keeping the vehicle's warranty intact, and for building a professional service history that people can actually trust.
And that brings us to our 5th and final foundation. This is your final check. This is the main idea I want you to walk away with today.
So what does it really mean to be competent in AURETH 102? It's this. It's the consistent application of your deep technical knowledge and your strict safety rules across different vehicles to always get a safe and accurate result. It's where knowledge, safety, and practice all come together. So there you have it, the 5 non-negotiable foundations for this unit. The prerequisites, the mindset, the safety rules, and the proof of performance. You have the blueprint. The only question left is, are you ready to start building?